LSU game. That's on November 27th. To register for the 12th Fan trip, visit 12thman.com/12thfan. Texas Farm Bureau Insurance is a proud corporate partner of Texas A&M Athletics. Welcome inside Rudy's. It is the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It is presented by Capital Farm Credit with the head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, Jimbo Fisher. I'm Andrew Monaco. Good to be back with you. Howdy, Coach.
Howdy. Great to be with you.
3-0 after the win on Saturday. We always get your first thoughts after the game, and now you get an opportunity to take a look at that film. Reviewing that game film, what did you see from your team?
We started very fast. I love the way we started on offense. We're able to go out and get a stop on defense. Got a tremendous punt return. Special teams, great defensive stop. All three phases started fast. Really good big punt return. Offense goes down, scores a touchdown, execute the drive, stop again, first play, bang, hit a touchdown. And, love that guy. You have to learn to start fast. That really makes a difference. It doesn't win games, but it can put you in a great situation, or it can put you in a heck of a situation you're climbing out of all game. And very proud of that. I thought defense was outstanding in the game. Not just only that they got a shutout, but how they played. Like I say, I'm more interested in the process, the eye violations, the missed assignments, the leverages, the missed block, how they fit things, and consistent with a lot of different formations, motions, different setups. They were trying to create a lot of eye violations, which they can do. Man, we were on top of everything. Our guys were sharp. They were playing well, and they played physical and played really well. I thought special teams, the return teams were both really good. We have only one kickoff return, thank God. I like that one game. That'd be perfect for the rest of the year. But, he hit a 37-yarder there, so he got good field position. The punt returns are nice. Had 2 or 3 there, and had one he broke. Unfortunately, we had a penalty. And, called it back, but it still set up points, got us in great field position. Almost had another one. I thought he could have came around him on the beginning of it, and he tried to get inside, but he went down and his elbow hit, had a chance there. But, it shows you if you give him room, what he can do. And those are big things, man, winning field position, getting points, and playing on a short field. So I thought that was good. But I thought our punter was outstanding. He hit the ball really well. And believe it or not, I think he can kick it better.
Really?
Yeah, there's no doubt. There's some things. But he does a great job on the pooch. Inside the 10, 20-yard line, he keeps that thing in there. He does a great job there. He hit good punts. The field goals, Seth was really good, except then we had one bad snap, which is so uncharacteristic. It doesn't happen, but it did. And Caden was getting his first kick of the year, unfortunately, and didn't allow him to hit the kick like he needed to hit. So that's a shame. But then the kickoffs, and he usually hit his first 3 or bombs or 4, whatever it was, and then he missed a couple, got on top, and they got some returns. So I thought we were solid there offensively. Again, got that good, and didn't have too many negative plays. And like I say, at the end of the day, I said we got to block better, and that goes for everything up front, not just linemen, tight end, receivers, but we had it was one play. It wasn't mass assignments, it wasn't missed assignments, it was poor technique, getting on the edge of a guy, not in the squared up a guy, letting the guy get a half a step here, getting your hat just on this shoulder instead of this shoulder, and that caused penetration, which gave up negative plays, which you can't, on offense, can't turn it over, can't have penalties, can't have negative plays. If you eliminate those 3 things, you're constantly you can make it up in your change and the down and distance and move the ball. And that's one of the things we did great the last couple of years, not have negative plays. And unfortunately, we had some. We had some big plays, but we got to get that cleaned up. A couple protection issues there that were just not MAs, just didn't get our hats right, didn't get our hands right. But then some of the young receivers come in. Demas made nice plays. Moose made some nice plays. Got Jalen Preston. Devin Price had his first catch. The backs ran good. You saw some of the young tailbacks come in there. You can see their talent and what they can do. And I thought Zach played a very solid game. He had one mistake on the interception. Like I say, we're up 27-0. You got pressure. It wasn't nothing you did. Throw the ball away. And I always tell quarterbacks are like moms. They got to walk around behind everybody and clean everybody else's mess up. You know what I mean? They got to make sure everything's right on top of that and do the right thing. But that's unfair for them to ask him to do that right now, because they should be taking care of him and where he's at. But he did some real nice, hit the deep ball well, played some good third downs, made some really nice throws in there, and did a couple things we got to keep cleaning up. But as long as he gets time in the saddle, he's going to be. He'll get better and better. But I thought he did some really good things managing the game. And we played a solid football. He scored the first 4 out of 6 drives. I thought we should have scored 6 out of 6 the first 6. And, and then 2 out of 3 in the second half. But we scored at the end of the first half, beginning of the second half, which I always try to talk about. I think that's a big emphasis. There were field goals, but still, that's points until the other team touches the ball. And got to get better in all three phases, and it's going to start because it's SEC ball. This is big boy ball, and the season starts now.
You had Layden Robinson out, so the versatility of Kenyon Green once again.
Yeah, and then Blake Traynor. I'm sorry, you moved Blake to right tackle, moved Kenyon in the guard. We thought that was the best 5 guys we had, and we played Deuce Fathery a lot in that group, and got him in it. But Blake did a nice job in that regard too.
Yeah,
did a nice job. And like I say, he had a couple tough plays, but had a bunch of really good ones, and he's getting better.
And that's the whole thing. Same thing. You don't know if Layden's going to dress or not. Word comes down pregame, he's not. Just so you talk about. It can happen in an instant to be in that lineup.
And that's why people have, we know when you're going to get you always move guys around, man. You try to find those combinations because injuries, this guy, you got so many tackles, so many guards, and where things are, and the ability to move those guys in different positions is key to get the right matchup. So, but it can happen that quick. And unfortunately, right now on offense, it's happening that quick a lot.
Yeah.
It needs to quit happening that quick. We need to stop that.
But you said this at practice. It's an opportunity for these guys.
But there's no doubt. Listen, everybody says, I'm waiting to play. Well, that's wrong. Because as soon as you wait to play, you're not preparing to play. And you get your opportunity, you're not ready for it. You better prepare to play, whether you're the starter, your second team, or the third team, because all of a sudden, you're there, well, it's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. So as soon as you let up, bang, right there it is. It happens. And you got to be ready for it, and you take advantage of it. And listen, life's about opportunities. It's about choices and opportunities. And you got to make the right choices in life. And when you get opportunities in life, you can't let them pass you by. Sometimes you only get one. You're very lucky if you ever get 2 or 3. So when you take advantage of them and make them count, whether you keep that starting job, but you let people know, hey, this guy can be counted upon. He's a big contributor. Or, as I say, the Wally Pipp syndrome. I always say that, man. Wally Pipp took a day off. And it's because a guy gets injured. Doesn't mean that we don't try to lose jobs for injuries, but it gives somebody else a chance to play. When you get that opportunity, you got to maximize it and take advantage of it.
Yeah, Lou Gehrig didn't give it back.
No, 2,130 games later, 31 games later, huh?
That's right. That's exactly right. He's head coach Jimbo Fisher. The Aggies are 3-0 after their win over New Mexico. When we come back, we'll talk about some of those players who took full advantage of the opportunity and the victory over the Lobos. Stay with us. The Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, presented by Capital Farm Credit, rolls on from Rudy's. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. Barker's Heating and Cooling, proud to be the official heating and cooling provider for Aggie Athletics. Earning your seal of approval since 1979. A lot has changed since then, but our pride in Aggie football and our commitment to providing great service remains as strong as ever. Gig 'em, Aggies. They are checking in from, we've got Arlington, Washington. We've got Dry Creek. We've got Cooper City, Florida. We've got Orange. We've got Canyon Lake. We've got Effie, Con, and Olga from Australia already checking in. And I've already asked Con what time it is there. Because that's
what is the time
change. I'm waiting for him to answer me.
You're supposed to know those things.
I know.
You're the host of the show. You're supposed to know everything.
Oh, really?
When you ask a question, you got to know the answer before you ask the question.
It's a good point. Hold on a second. Let me ask the boss. Laura, do I know everything? I was asking if I know everything. Oh, yeah. Hear the sarcasm in that answer? Jimbo, we have talked about time of possession in the past and how effective it is for the Aggies. And every once in a while you'll say, hey, I'd love a one-play 75-yard drive. You got the one-play 70-yard drive with Zach hitting Demond Demas.
Yes, it was. And you got to have this. Big plays, turnovers and big plays are two of the most critical things that determine games nowadays. You have to be able to create them. And because there's so many good athletes on the field, to have those long drives, it takes a very mature football team to be able to. Now, last year we had that, and that was our style. But we created big plays. We created tons of chunk plays as much as anything last year. But, it's important that you got to be able to create those plays, and some of those young guys can do it.
Effie says it's 11:16 a.m. in Australia.
Wow, that's Percy. He's having
that's not bad.
Lunch. No,
yeah, that's not bad at all. That 11 a.m. kick on Saturday was a little bit different for them.
Yeah, I bet it was.
2:30 will be nice on Saturday. Back to that big play, though, Jimbo. Does that loosen up the defense then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, and it gives you knowing that guys can get over the top, makes other guys around them better, creates space for them. And, there's no doubt about that. And hit it, and Zach taking the time, we protected it and made a good throw. And it was, it was just like we drew it up.
And that was nice to see the entire part of that. Him having the time, the presence in the pocket. And
well, that's the thing that people you don't realize about football. Football's the greatest team game there is. No other sport truly relies on every guy doing his job as much as football. Not that guys can't make mistakes and guys make a guy miss and, you break a tackle or you scramble around to make plays. But, like, even in baseball, it's a team game, but it's based individually off your team. And football is too, but not the core. And the pitcher and the batter, that's you two guys. And I'm a huge baseball fan. A football, the center, the guard, the tackle, like I said, 4 linemen block right, one of them's half a step off, you got a 2-yard loss. Then the tight end, then the back's got to hit it right, back's got to read it right, quarterback's got to set in the pocket, the timing of the route, does a receiver run it at the right time, at the right – I mean, there's so many things that go into football that, the timing, the rhythm, and on defense, the 2 guys fit a play, but one – you say 2 guys there and how they miss a tackle, one fitted it with the wrong shoulder. It was that simple. I mean, if he fits at this shoulder and bounces it to him, or if you both fit it, fits it with this shoulder, that's the difference. The intricacies of football are so fine. And then you put the physicality and everything from. That's what makes it such a great game. But you have to be able to do that to function those plays. And if 10 guys are right, 1 guy's wrong, it don't work.
You made that point on Monday during your media availability about a half step was the difference between all 11 being on that same page.
Exactly right. And listen, you fight for inches. Every play is the inches you fight for. And that's where is my hat. I mean, the hat being that far short, being on this part of his face to that part of his face, and how he can slide off is the difference. And you say it all the time. It's inches. It's eye violations. Putting your place and being able to do it. And everybody says, well, everybody does it. That's true. But not everybody does it well. And it takes time and precision. And you got to fight for the inches. And you got to have the grit to push through them because the inches add up, and then that's the difference in winning and losing.
The end of that game, you're able to hand the ball to Isaiah Spiller, a whole chunk on that drive before the touchdown pass. Terrific catch by Muhsin Muhammad there in the end zone, the one-handed catch. But it's nice to be able, at a certain point against a team like New Mexico, Texas A&M is going to wear them out because you want them to go the entire 60 minutes, correct?
Well, you do, and you got to be able to run the football. You got to have balance in today's game. I don't care how much you spread, you got to have balance. And those linemen got to be able to come off the ball and be physical, and your play actions and all those things work out. So it's a big part of it.
And that young man just, even in practice, that little jump cut, that little patience, and the acceleration is just so much. Same thing with Devon or Anais, whoever you have back there.
And like I say, the big thing about Spiller that I love him so much is just the effect he has on the guys on the team. I mean, he is such a leader, and I mean, he doesn't have a problem getting on guys anymore, which is, young guys. He's taking that leadership role and done a heck of a job, and in a good, positive way. But he's driving those guys, and like I say, changing that same mold. Devon's a little quieter, but man, just the same kind of work ethic and attitude and demeanor. Both very intelligent, very high character young men.
That's why, and when you hear them talk about Jimbo, and a lot of your guys do this, it's not just them, but they really want to be complete backs.
Well, you got to be. I mean, you got to run it, you got to catch it, you got to block, you got to be able to. I mean, to chip head, help in protection. You can't play if you want to go. Listen, if you want to go make money this game, you want to play this game, or you want to win championships. You have to be a complete football player. You can't do parts of things. Now, there's things you may do better than others, but you still got to do them all very well.
Because just that one-trick pony, that gets figured out.
Well, it gets figured out and what your role is and what you can do, and people expose it.
Yeah. He's Jimbo Fisher, head coach of the Fighting Texas Aggies, 3-0 after the win over New Mexico. We get closer to the Saturday kickoff against Arkansas in the next edition of the Southwest Classic. That will be Saturday at 2:30. Come on back to Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, presented by Capital Farm Credit. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. The new Brookshire Brothers across from Kyle Field was built for Aggies. There's a bar serving coffee, wine, and beer, a full-service pharmacy, and great values on groceries. And you'll love their grab-and-go meals only at Brookshire Brothers. So much more than a grocery store. We continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It is presented by Capital Farm Credit. We're at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station. The Aggies coming off the victory over New Mexico on Saturday, and they will be in Arlington. We go back to Jerry World, 2:30 kick. Actually, 2:40, little inside information. Possibly 2:45 on Saturday as well. 1:30 for the St. Joseph Health pregame show. That will be on Saturday. Dave Elmendorf, Will Johnson, and I to get you started for the next edition of this Southwest Classic. Arkansas comes in at 3-0. Wins over Rice, over Texas, and over Georgia Southern this past Saturday. But we continue looking back at some of the performances from New Mexico. And the shutout by this defense, that pressure by this defensive line. McKinley Jackson back on that defensive line, a little more depth there. An interception. Leon O'Neal Jr. on the coverage, and Edgerrin Cooper gets the pick. But in this day and age, Jimbo, and I've stated this before, to get a shutout in college football with the new rules, it's impressive, and I don't care who the opponent is.
It is. It's hard. And I tell you, people don't realize it's a big part of special teams. I mean, how you cover, where your field position started. I mean, you remember every time we didn't score, we punted, and they started inside their 20 every time. So they were backed up. And then the kickoffs, all except for two, usually Gaten hits them in the stands or right out there. I mean, so what I'm saying is you're always playing on a long field. That's a big part of that, too. And I know it's not taking anything away from the defense, but all that goes into it. And offensively, we had one turnover, which they hit at the midfield, which we didn't need to have. Those things can hurt a defense, too. Sometimes they'll give up points that had nothing to do with them. You know what I'm saying? So the other aspects have to do their part of it, too. That's why it's so hard to get shutouts, and they did an outstanding job in the game on all aspects, in my opinion. Just
getting that pressure from, it seemed, somebody. It didn't always have to be Michael. It didn't always have to be Tyree. It didn't always have to be Mark.
And that's when you got to go in. And when they double team or slide, and everybody's got to have the ability. If not, then you're going to get double teams on people. They can't win their one-on-one matchups, and that's when you have to be across the board. It's just like on offense. If every receiver can win one-on-one, which one they double, you pick your poison. You have a tight end, you have a back. You can get to that point and do the things like that. It's like up front and your rushers.
And same thing you were talking about the offensive players on that defensive side. Again, either some more snaps, what they have done in the first week, to be able to get that game rep.
A lot of those young. I mean, Chappelle's out there getting a lot of snaps. Gilbert's out there getting a lot of snaps. Let me see, who else am I missing? Deuce Harmon getting a lot of snaps all the way across the board. Some of those young D linemen, linebackers, all that type of stuff. And the more they play, the better they're going to get.
Yeah, it's because it's that recognition, right? You can simulate as much as you want on the practice field. It's completely different.
Yeah, well, it is, and it's also different than you're going out there doing it, and then you realizing that you can do it. And I keep saying that. And then once you realize that, then you can really start to grow and develop, and you don't worry about other things. You worry about getting better instead of can I. And I'm preparing, and then you learn how to prepare better, and you learn all that. I mean, that's just all part. It's like growing up. I mean, it's just like when you're a kid, and you're first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade. I mean, it all gets easier as you go.
You said you wanted to see this team. Let me go to Isaiah Spiller. After Saturday, he said, "You know what? The key for us is finish." But the finish isn't on Saturdays, Jimbo. He's talking about every rep during the week. Is he not?
It's got to be. You got to create the habits. Listen, when you go in a game, what you do on a daily basis comes to surface, and that's your habits. Because it can't help. When pressure comes, you revert back to what you know, who you know, and how you do things. It's what your mind and body does. And that's why practice is not important. Perfect practice is. And even mentally, even if you make a mistake, but your mind is in the right place, you're picturing it in your mind. You're working toward it in your mind, and you understand it's different. And that's the key to the whole drill, and that's where we're still evolving, in my opinion, in certain phases of our team. And you're never a great team till all phases are perfect. So we got a long way to go.
You also got number 0 there to get a couple snaps on defense, Miles Jones.
Yes, that was awesome getting him. Oh, yeah. I mean, his size, length, experience, and just pure talent makes us a different football team. And the numbers, and it allows us to free people up to create different matchups across the board. So the more he gets back to playing, the better we're going to be.
It seems as in the first 3 weeks, teams may try to pick on Brian George, but that only makes him better, correct? They're not going to throw towards Jalen Jones. We know that.
Well, I'm going to tell you now, they'll as soon as you don't say that, they will. but you're right. I mean, but let me tell you something. There's not a better competitor than Brian George. Brian George plays as hard in his practice and all that. Now he's really learning to become a technician. He's learning how to make his plays consistently, and he's doing a great job. Jalen, I mean, all those guys. They're all going to get tested, so they're all going to have to make their plays.
And you've always talked about on that back end with someone like Miles Jones at that 6'4". You like the length in that.
Oh, you got to have it. You got to be able to match up. I mean, I say those long guys, man, they just do more by accident sometimes than other guys do on purpose. Not that you can't, but they tip a ball. They're in there. They get that fingertip on you, just like D linemen. I mean, even if they can't get there, they're 6'6". They get their hands up. They tip a ball. They get in the lane. They get. Even when they're blocked, sometimes you're getting blocked. They reach over and grab you. Those big, long guys have an advantage when they can really know how to use it. Miles knows. That's why I'm saying it's good to trying to get him healthy.
We have questions for you that we will ask when we come back to the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station. Stay with us. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. We all know that queso practically flows through the veins of every Texan at Costa Vida Fresh Mexican Grill. Queso is their pro-style offense. Costa Vida is proud to partner with Texas A&M Athletics. This is the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit. It is the question portion of our show. Ian is in, but I'm going to hold your question, Ian, for a little bit later on. Ryan wants to know, Coach, how do you motivate the O-line to get more physical, to open up the gaps, to allow Spiller to move the ball?
Well, I mean, motivating them is not hard. They just got to get better technically, and those kids, they want to be good. I promise this. Everybody says, when a guy makes a mistake, I promise there's not a player out there that wants to make a mistake. Think about it. They don't want to do those things. They're not trying to do those things, but they just got to create the habit of understanding how to do them the right way. So you show them the mistakes, and these kids are motivated from within. They want to be good. They know that's why they came here. They came here to be pushed, to be challenged, to play great and do it. And they know there's work to do, but at the same time, it hasn't been hard to motivate them. Those kids are working their tails off right now.
Does that go into who you want to recruit to come here, that self-motivation?
And that's the culture to be here. I mean, understand something. You come here, first thing you're doing, this ain't going to be easy. There's going to be a lot of hard work. There's going to be a lot of hard days. There's going to be a lot of tough days. You just got to put your nose down and go to work. And that's what you got to do. You got to get better each and every day.
Philip Lee right here in the front wants to know, is Caleb Chapman and Hezekiah healthy enough to play this week?
I doubt it. So we'll
close,
see.
Though.
Yeah, close.
Especially Hez. Good to see him.
Yeah, he's coming back around. And Caleb should be really ready here really soon, too. And he may be, but I doubt it this weekend.
Roland Reyes, an update on Haynes King. He actually wanted to know about the return, and I'm going to change it to a Haynes King update.
Yeah, I don't know the return. I mean, each guy heals at a different pace. But like I said, the surgery went great. The break was really clean. It was not its separation. It was not chips in anything. Put a couple screws in it, and like I said, when you did the X-ray and everything right after the surgery, you couldn't even see the brake line. I mean, which is really good. But now it's a matter of time just to let it heal. And he is chomping. He's going 100 miles an hour, and it's amazing the amount of they let you move your foot, the rotation, the motion now with those screws, and that's why they do it. So you don't have the attrition in the muscle and everything. You know, it's amazing how much he can do already. But, you know, we'll have to make sure he is fully healthy before anything, you can go forward.
He's a terror on that scooter.
Oh, he's a terror on that. He goes 100 miles an hour everywhere. I'm just glad it's a scooter, and I mean a flat scooter where you can't wreck.
That's right. That's all you need, right?
Exactly.
That is all you need. Preston is watching on the Aggie Football Facebook page. How was shooting the commercial with Marty and McGee?
Oh, it's awesome. I've known those guys a long time before they got they become big time on the show. I tell them, but now they've all covered us covered me at different times when I was coaching and been around great guys, and they called and asked to do those things that they thought would be a great idea. I thought it'd be great for us in A&M and the publicity and everything, and to be around those guys, we did it one day in the summer.
Did you?
There was a couple of them, 2 or 3 of them, and just. I mean, amazing guys, great guys, just as down to earth and as normal people as you ever want to be around, and really good at their job.
You have a really good rapport with them. I love when you're in that studio. It's more relaxed. It's really more of a conversation than a Q&A.
Oh, I feel comfortable with them. I consider them friends. I really do. I mean, they're great guys. They're genuine, good, honest, really good people, and they're really good at what they do, and they make you feel so comfortable.
It's nice to have that kind of trust when especially say you were in 12-man production. Those studios, they're in Charlotte. Right, it still comes through.
Oh yeah,
you like
does.
having that.
It does. And who you're talking to, and just how they approach things and the way they do things.
Ian Curtis wants to know, who's your biggest inspiration as a coach?
You know, I know this is going to sound crazy, and everything goes back to it, but it goes back to my father. It really does. I mean, I love coaches and all that, but the way my dad coached when I was a kid, he basically made me think the game, whatever game I was playing. He always said, your physical ability is going to be bigger, stronger. And I had, if you got, you're the best player. Why? He was always, why'd you do that? Why'd you do this? And understanding how to push people, motivate people. And he was a coal miner, but he was a boss in the coal mines, and he had to motivate. His crew always produced the most coal, or there's a reason. I mean, he could get to people, and I mean tough and hard nosed, and I mean point blank. Don't ask a question if you don't want the true answer. I promise you, it was blunt as it could be. But he could do it and say it. You walk around, and he'd say something, you look at, thank you. I mean, I didn't say that. The other guys did, but I was always mad and throwing a fit. But he could have that knack to him, but about how to coach. And then when you get into coaching, Coach Bowden was big in my life. I mean, I've been around him and the Bowden family the whole time was very big. Terry was my coach, Jeff, and then getting around Bob. But they were, too. I mean, they were first ones you was around and what you did. And then you admired all the coaches. I loved watching the games and the coaches and, watch the coaches shows and all that stuff. So you learn from everybody. But I still think at the end of the day, my dad making me understand the whys of the game, I think, and that's why coaching, what gets back into, and then the ability to reach people and talk, communicate to people. And I say this, my mom is a teacher. Coaching is teaching. everybody talks about motivating, but coaching is teaching, it's educating, it's getting points across, it's putting them in a position that somebody else can understand. It's not what you know, it's what you can get somebody else to know. And my mom, by far, is the best teacher I ever saw. It's ridiculous. Chemistry and physics and brilliant, and her students excelled. But how she could, and she made you think. Both my parents made me think. I mean, they didn't give me anything. They wouldn't give me the answers. Look them up, figure it out. And if I even got it without doing it, why? Think about why, and they both did it that way, and I think maybe that's where the coaching came from.
And it's just it doesn't have to be book learning on the test. Your players are learning. It's just a different field where they're learning.
Yeah,
correct?
Exactly. It's all the same. I mean, it's life. The same principles you're going to learn to be a good football player, same principles you're going to learn to be whatever you do and choose in your profession, to be a good husband, to be a good father, all those. It's the same principles about what the habits you create and the choices you make and what you look and how you prepare and what you think of and how you see the future. And it's all the same things. And, it's no different. Hopefully they'll be able to apply that when they get older.
Thank you all for those questions. They were fantastic.
Really
we'll
good.
have more. They really were. They were fantastic. We appreciate that, whether it was on the Aggie Football Facebook page or here in our Capital Farm Credit box right here. Thank you for all of those. When we come back, let's dive into the Aggies' next opponent. That will be Arkansas on Saturday when the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show rolls on from Rudy's. It is presented by Capital Farm Credit. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. The Jimbo Fisher Radio Show is brought to you by Capital Farm Credit. Capital Farm Credit. Together, we're better. We roll on from Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station, the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. We told you, presented by Capital Farm Credit. Arkansas on Saturday. So we dive into Arkansas now 3-0, matching their win total from a year ago. Rice,
impressive wins.
The Texas win, we're all rooting for them on the plains, right? And then saying, "Oh, we got to play them in 2 weeks." And now here it is on Saturday. You mentioned the experience of this team, 4th, 5th, 6th year.
You look at all of them. I mean, they got the 6th-year guys, redshirt, 5th-year juniors, 4th-year juniors. I mean, across the board, offense and defense. I don't know if it's a more experienced team in the country anywhere. I'll be shocked if there is.
Yeah,
it makes a difference now. I mean, it makes a big, and in how they do things, and they're playing really well. It shows all three phases, the maturity, the consistency, and that's what I say. When you get older, you understand that consistency level. And I mean, I'm telling you now, they're all three phases. They have a really, really good football team, and Sam does a great job coaching them. Both coordinators are outstanding in what they do, and their coaches. They have a good staff now. They got a good team.
When you say Sam Pittman, sometimes fit for a coach and a team, and Sam Pittman fits there at Arkansas. They bought in, have they not?
Oh, there's no doubt. And then style of brand and ball he wants to play, but at the same time, you say physical, but they're still very skilled and do a lot of things, the no huddle package and everything they do. So it's a really, I mean, they're very diverse.
As much as we want to say, what's the magic formula? In the SEC, you've got to be able to run the ball. You got to win in the trenches. They can run the ball. And that defensive line, and even their offensive line, a lot of guys coming back. The trenches have been part of their success, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been a big part. They're physical on both lines. Linebackers are very experienced. Running backs are very talented. I mean, tight ends are very good. The safety Catalan, I think, is one of the best ones I've seen, period. I mean, that guy can flat play. And they all phases, man. I mean, they can play. And they're a very good football team. And right now, maybe playing as well as anybody around. I mean, they haven't had no ups, downs. I mean, it's been – I mean, they're climbing the whole time, and they're on fire right now.
I was talking to some of the Arkansas folks this week, and they were down at the half against Rice, and it was Quinn Grovey who quarterbacked there. He said in years past they may have packed it in, but it's completely different. A completely different attitude. This year. I don't think it was 31 unanswered.
It was.
For them.
And what they got down to, they were down. It was 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. It was 17-14. Rice was winning the game. Rice had a 4th and 1 on their 18-yard line. And went for it. And they stopped them. And then after that, it ended up 38-17.
Man, those momentum changers.
It is. I mean, you got to hit those plays. They had opportunities now. And that's what experienced guys do. I mean, no matter what it is, we could pack it. No. They've been there too many times, I think, in my opinion, and they're well coached.
When we come back to the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, I ask you about playing at AT&T Stadium as we renew that Southwest Classic there, being able to go into another NFL stadium for us. That's when the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show, presented by Capital Farm Credit, rolls on from Rudy's. This is Aggie Football from Learfield. Football and barbecue lovers know the perfect brisket needs the right wood. Rudy's smokes all their meats using their delicious signature rubs in 100% oak-fired pits. Get your real Texas barbecue fix today at Rudy's or on the web at rudys.com. We continue with the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It's presented by Capital Farm Credit. We are at Rudy's, 504 Harvey Road here in College Station, Leland, North Carolina, Richmond, Virginia, Gatesville here in Texas, Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the home of Andre White Jr., Hot Springs, Arkansas. You know how thrilled I am that Facebook has checked in from Hot Springs, Arkansas saying, go Aggies. That's fantastic. And Sarah from Sweden has said, looking forward to some big wins in 2022. She will bring the Swedish meatballs. You are going international now, Coach.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. That's amazing. It is amazing. The thing about the communication, I mean, where you can get to and what you can go see and people can talk, it's utterly amazing. It really is.
So we talk about how Effie and Con always check in at Facebook from Australia with Nick Constantino. To be able to stream the game, it used to be, well, I'm out of range. I can't listen to it.
Yeah.
We were growing up. If you weren't in the area, you couldn't listen. Now you can stream and they can keep up with Nick.
Had to be on the radio.
That's exactly right.
The old radio days. Which way, you know something? And I kind of miss. You could have your own imagination and the announcers and everything. They put that picture in your head and you could see it. And I mean, I can still remember certain games and certain things of that. Now, I mean, it's great to have TV. Don't get me wrong, and I love all that. But there is some mystique of missing that old radio and listening to the old announcer, whatever sport it was, or even in high school games. I remember watching when I was a kid, trying to listen to the high school games, everything, and trying to put that picture in your mind.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Did you picture yourself playing as well?
Yeah, I mean, you wanted to. Mm-hmm. I mean, I wanted to. I mean, and you say that. And when I went to the yard, that's who I was. I was over that team I liked and the players and playing out there in the yard and doing whether it was by myself or with a friend or, you play in the yard by yourself. Back then, you did everything in the world just to play.
And that yard became every single field, right? That you possibly needed.
It became dirt. That's what it became. It became dirt, and our yard, my house was like that. But it did. It was a football field, a baseball field. Wasn't a basketball. We had to put it up there. But you're right.
And now Jimbo Fisher will this Saturday. You'll be at AT&T Stadium.
What a stadium, man! What a great place and great venue to watch a game for the fans, the atmosphere, the environment, for the kids too, to see it and be a part of it and what it is. And it's a neutral site place, and it's right there. We have so many guys from Dallas in that area, and it's not too far. And I think it is. I like going. I mean, I love playing in Kyle Field. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, love the ability to create that neutral site game. Plus, for you get to playoff games, bowl games, things like that. They get to experience those types of things, and it's a really, really nice venue, and it should be a great game.
Yeah, you've always mentioned that if you want to get to that national championship game, you're going to go through Dallas.
Yeah,
most years. Right?
You are. You got to do that. You got to do things. You got to be in those neutral site games and play them in bowl games and learn how to deal with those things. Not have a home and home, and it's just a neat environment.
And you have a lot of your players have played there because they've had high school success.
Yeah, I mean that's it. That's one of the great things. I mean, here in Houston, I mean both places that those guys get to play in pro stadiums as a high school player. Think about that. How many places does that happen?
Not many.
It's pretty amazing.
Not many at all. And the other thing is a lot of these guys are going to play against one another, right?
Oh, yeah.
Especially their roster littered with
Texas. I mean, Texas is, a big part of Arkansas's recruiting and do a lot of people's recruiting. There's so many people and so many players in the state. So, I got some really good ones.
We will get started at 1:30 with the St. Joseph Health pregame show on Saturday. 2:30 is the kick in the Southwest Classic at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Final segment of the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show presented by Capital Farm Credit. When we return to Rudy's, this is Aggie Football from Learfield. Final segment of the Jimbo Fisher Radio Show. It is presented by Capital Farm Credit. We are at Rudy's. We get set for the Aggies in Arkansas. 7th-ranked Aggies, 16th-ranked Arkansas. Both schools are 3-0. CBS this weekend all along the Texas A&M Sports Network, beginning at 1:30 with the St. Joseph Health pregame show. So as we get set for Arkansas, the first SEC matchup, as you said, big boy football here. Everything gets magnified, does it not, as we get into conference play?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's your conference, what you want to be, and that's what you want to win. And the importance of those games and being an interdivisional game. I mean, being on your side, being on the West. So as I call them, those are double whammy games to me. I mean, they're conference games, but they're also interdivisional games. So they're as important a games as you can have. And starting off conference play, you want to start off on the right foot. And I'm going to tell you, we jump right in the fire. There's no doubt about that.
But, you could say that with almost any team in the SEC if you had to, in week number one, right? There's no off weeks.
No, there never is. And that's the amazing thing that you got to understand. And there's a certain psychological disposition you better understand coming in here to play. I mean, in this league, and when you're a young player and I want to be a part of this, I want to be in it. Okay, now just make sure at that young age you're ready for it. I mean, not only the physical parts of it, but the psychological competitive nature of it at such a young age with how intense it's going to get. Which our guys will find, and the guys do it great. But I mean, it's as intense and as physical as it gets.
Will the game in Denver, do you hope that pays off?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, to learn to come through the adversity, the physicality. Listen, their front seven on defense that we played on offense was very good. Their offensive line was solid, and what they did, and that was a very physical football game in that game. And that's the first thing to give the indicator how it's going to be, and then you just get better. But kids adapt quickly, man. That's all part of it. You got to know how the game's played, and what goes on. And our guys, we got a lot of older guys too. We'll be ready to play. We'll be ready to play.
I know on that defense, it's like you know what? We're ready to party for 60 minutes. Yeah. Let's go.
Like I say, you get Kenyon, Isaiah, Nias, all those guys. They'll be ready to go. They'll get those guys on offense and the experience and the guys they have. They'll be ready to rock and roll and play up there. And Jameer's been through all that too. Mm-hmm. He's been through it a bunch, and Jalen Wiedemeyer's been through it, and Max Wright's been through it, and that whole crew. So they'll get ready.
What becomes some of the keys on Saturday?
Like always, I think you got to take care of the football. Turnovers and big plays are going to be huge, and establishing both offensive line and defensive line. I mean, the lines of scrimmage in this game are going to be extremely important. I think defensively, eliminate their big play explosiveness and how they throw it and what they do, and keeping that quarterback pressuring him, but at the same time not letting him get out there and run. I mean, not only with his athleticism, but with his strength, we got to get him on the ground. You got to tackle him. Got to tackle their backs. Limit them and got to cover them. Offense, we got to be able to establish run game. You got to have balance, throw it, run it, create big plays on offense. I mean, in the third down red zone things, you got to score touchdowns in the kicking game. It's going to get down. You got to be very sound in the kicking game and win those field position battles and take advantage of those opportunities and try to create those turnovers. And you got to play a physical brand of football. But here's the thing: the consistency in which you play with. Not having the negative plays, making them earn. And listen, guys make plays on the other team. That's good. You tip your hat to your own scholarship. You do things right. That's part of it. You can't give things away. You got to make people earn them. We got to be consistent. We got to play well.
Beat the hell out of Arkansas.
Thank you very much.
You got it. Jimbo Fisher, head coach of the 3-0 Fighting Texas Aggies, taking on Arkansas this Saturday. 1:30, I did it. St. Joseph Health pregame show. 2:30 is the kick as we come to you from the Southwest Classic AT&T Stadium in Arlington. My thanks to Aisha Jackson. She is the producer of Aggie Football in our Learfield Network studios. For Kevin Menchow, our engineer, for the head coach Jimbo Fisher, I'm Andrew Monaco. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We'll talk to you Saturday from Arlington. This is Aggie Football from Learfield.